So let's get down to business.
To the echoes.
The hunt. Oh, the echoes works too.
Leaves. Oh.
Okay. So when we last left off, the group had just, by the skin of their teeth, crossed over into the sanctuary. Unbeknownst, well, known to everyone, but unseen by most, the echoes hot on their trail. As you cross into it, you have that familiar feeling that that kind of dampening, that deafening sense of the withering around you. The taint that's on the land, this kind of just disgust that sits there all the time. Roland, that untamed kind of almost almost like, when you've been inside for so long and then you take your step outside and you fill up with that fresh air, that blast of just that kind of sense of wild magic that's around you, that's just like running unchecked through this land, is kind of at a bit of a damper. You're kind of behind a windscreen at the moment, to keep on with the very poor analogy. For Niesa, you step in and you definitely feel the taint, kind of the withering, and you almost feel like, as you step into the Druid Glade, that there's like something almost like peeling away, you've seen it before when you lived in the villages. You find trees that were almost cloyed with like climbing ivy and plants and things like that, and you feel as you step into the Druid's Glade that those plants are almost just like ripped off of you one by one, and you can get a little bit of nutrition and fresh air, and you just, a weight is off your shoulders. For Skyla, when you step in, you definitely have the same sense. There's that kind of just, especially for Skyla, this whole entire area is just hot. It's it fluctuates between being dry and arid and muggy, almost step to step, depending on where you guys are. But everywhere you've been so far is very hot. It's sweaty, and you have that kind of oily film in the air that is kind of just clinging to you. You also step into the Druid's Glade, and you feel that dampening sense kind of go over you, and you also feel another presence that you weren't aware was kind of suppressed. But as you kind of step in, you feel that familiar kind of nuzzling on the back of your subconscious, as Fox kind of lets you know that he's still there.
Okay.
You are within the Druid's Glade. On the edges are the tall columns covered in druidic runes, not ruins, that are kind of emitting that greenish light, and keeping the withering at bay. And you're almost standing in this kind of like odd, comforting in the sense of what it is, but also a little bit unnerving. It's unnatural. Something that's this long standing, that is specifically designed just to keep out this rot and this taint. It's not like a nice warm glow, but it's better than the alternative, I guess, would be the best way to put it. The vegetation on the edge of the Druid's Glade is very sparse. You do see patches of green here and there. Further in, you see some trees that are growing up. It looks like a small chunk of, preserved forest almost. Like you guys have passed the what are they called? The thickets, the groves of trees, the twisted ones. This almost looks like something similar, except in its natural state, not as dark and twisted like the other ones were. And you do hear the sound of kind of like bubbling water off in the distance. What would you guys like to do? Anyway.
kind of want to go investigate the bubbling, or what it is, where it's coming from.
I just want to look over Roland and everybody, make sure no one's like hurt, because Roland wasn't like tripped, right?
Yeah, Roland tripped and was caught
snatched
by one of the.
Okay, bro.
It's a little thing.
Okay.
He did get scraped up a little bit, but nothing that he's gonna cry about.
Okay. Watching you. Okay.
Somebody's watching me.
If Skyla starts to go like off by herself, I'm gonna go with her.
Okay.
I'm very uncomfortable with people being alone.
Yeah, as you guys are standing there, Bliff is kind of just watching out behind you. At the edge of the Druid's Glade. And he kind of just motions you guys past in the direction that Skyla's heading. What's Roland doing?
I'll follow, but taking a look behind me out there as I go.
As you look behind you, you see on the very edge of the like where the glow fades away into nothingness, your eyes pick up just kind of faintly hands, just the same hands that you saw before, twisting and almost pressing in and seeming to meet resistance.
Is this, was this hold?
I've not really dealt with too many of the echoes this far south. Most of the worst stuff is up north, where the dwarves returned, and most of this began. What lasts down here is usually the ones that ran away and made it this far, and poor people that got caught in the middle of it all. But if any place could hold it, it's probably this place. Like I said, I mean, this is the only drinkable water in the entirety of the Withering, so if it can hold out that much, I think it can hold them out. Otherwise, it'd have been overrun long ago.
I like your optimism. And then I walk past.
Yeah, he stands there for a little bit longer. Just kind of glancing out, weighing and measuring, and then eventually turns and follows you. So Skyla, as you kind of venture further in, you pass into the denser vegetation, and I mean, it is nicer, it is greener compared to the rest of the Withering. It looks like, a lush, fertile, amazing place, but being a ranger, you see the signs of nature that is struggling to break through. You see, basically, it almost looks like a small grove of trees in the middle of a drought, basically. I mean, the vegetation is green in areas, but the trees are marked with patches of, brown and dead leaves that are kind of clinging on, but not the twisted, tainted leaves that you've seen before. Mostly just stuff that's not getting the proper nutrition, air, water, and nutrients and stuff like that. It's definitely feeling the effects, although it has lasted quite a while. The trees grow closer and closer together, but eventually you come to a small area in what you can assume from how far you've walked in is roughly the middle of the glade, and there is a kind of bubbling and churning pool of water, almost perfectly crystal clear down to the bottom, where you can see what looks like bedrock with a bit of a crack in the middle of it, and the water is kind of flowing up through that crack like a natural spring of sorts. Go ahead and give me a perception check as you're kind of walking through this area. You guys go in, following Skyla along, and do you have advantage in force or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So as you continue in a little bit further, on your journey to this small pool, glancing around, you don't really see too much. Nothing really catches your eye. It doesn't look like there's anything here. Nothing really stands out too much. It mostly looks like the kind of that dense vegetation for the most part. A little bit overgrown and unkempt, but as much as it can be. But other than that, you don't see anyone around. The one thing that you do notice is that it's very quiet here. There are no birds chirping. There are no rabbits running through the underbrush. There are no bugs kind of like chittering away or anything like that. The plant life and vegetation is here, but the rest of it isn't. It's just gone. Wild Alex has appeared online.
Which is ruin everything.
Welcome,
Yeah.
Alex.
I can just leave if that makes things easier.
No,
it's fine.
No.
What's that? Oh, okay. So, Alex, just to catch up real quick, you guys have crossed into the Druid Glade. Glyph kind of motioned you guys on further, and Skyla began walking towards a bubbling sound and has just come across a natural spring in the middle of the glade. Is there anything between the edge of the glade where you guys left off to walking through here that you wanted to do for Corin?
I think just trying to get a sense of how this feels different from the rest of the Withering, and if this does feel like a truly safe space, or basically as nature feels like it should.
Yeah, so when you go in, as the others experience, you have a bit of a that kind of oily film that is coated over you, that sense of just death and decay that's filling up your nose has kind of been dampened a little bit. It's still in the air, it's still everywhere, but as you cross the threshold of the glade, it definitely like mellows out. When you kind of like feel out, similar to what Skyla experienced, the vegetation is here, it's untwisted, it's untainted, but it's very choked off. It feels like it's struggling to maintain. Bits of green are coming up here and there, but it's definitely mixed in with that, the trees look scraggly. They look like they've had a couple hard winters kind of thing. They're not growing lush and full. And also, as Skyla noticed, there are no signs, there's no birds, there's no rabbits running around. You don't even hear insects kind of chittering in the night or anything like that. So it's there's plant life, but that's about it. Okay. What did you guys want to do?
Ryan, you're muted.
What time is it? Is it bedtime? For the
guys,
normies, I don't really do that, but
yeah, no problem.
Bad stuff.
So when you guys were running here, the sun had gone down, and you had to make the last like half hour to hour in the darkness. So it's about an hour to an hour and a half after sundown.
Oh man, did I bring any books or magazines? No, I did not. I just got 5 gold last week or 4 weeks ago. I don't know what I can do with my time, so I will shut up.
So as you guys are looking around again, from coming into the area and just walking through it, it's roughly about like 5 acres. It has this small stream in the middle with a clearing around it. The rest of it is kind of patchy bits of trees and vegetation and stuff like that. The entire perimeter of it is lined by those columns. That green glow seems to reach to where you guys are, but it's very, very faint in the middle of the glade, of the circle. It doesn't. It's not like, just lit up. I would say it's about, in D&D terms, it's like dim lighting, but that kind of just like pale glow that's coming off of those columns kind of just extends out here. Whereas on the outside, right next to the columns, it only goes, dim light maybe a few feet. So just so you guys are all aware of that.
Yeah. I probably want to get to a part of the circle where I can see as little of the surrounding withering as possible. And then I'm going to start setting up camp.
Yeah. Where you guys are in the middle, near the spring, you can see through the patches of trees, like the tops of some of the columns here and there, but you can't actually see out into the withering. There might be a couple breaks where someone with decent eyesight could probably in the daytime catch sight of the withering, but for the most part, you guys are secluded inside.
As a human, at night, I can pretend it's not there.
I'm definitely going to pick around and see if I can find some of that sky rock. Is that what keeps this place safe? I'm going to pick around those pillars and, poke and dig. Whatever. I don't know. That's what I'm going to do.
All right. Go ahead and give me... you give me an investigation.
A geology check.
Give me a geology check. Give me an investigation.
Investigation. 23.
Natural 20.
So as you kind of just go around and you're leaving the area, Glyph walks up and as you're about to kind of go out, he says, probably goes without saying, but stay on this side of the pillars. And then he kind of goes and gets his bedroll and begins settling in next to the creek, refilling up his water skins that he carries with him, the spring, and just prepping to just stay here for the remainder of the night. As you go out and begin walking around looking for strange rocks and the like, you go and you check out the pillars, and the pillars don't look anything like the sky rock. They definitely look like some kind of worked stone at first glance, and then as you kind of take another look at them, you realize that it actually kind of looks like wood. It's definitely hard as stone. It feels like stone, everything like that, but it has grains in it similar to trees. And very tall. You can almost see where some of the branches were kind of cut off and smoothed over and stuff like that. And basically, looking at it a little bit more, you would almost say it's like, you've heard stories of petrified wood. But then as you're kind of glancing, these actually have roots as you're kind of picking at the ground around them. And you've never seen anything like this before.
I guess I'll call over the green one hey bro, you know about trees?
Yes? No.
You got some of that arborism?
I do indeed.
Okay.
But,
Um,
yes,
I have a new voice, by the way.
you gave up on the French.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
support this equally as much.
We don't. We
No.
here don't give up on the French. Come on now. So you get Corin's attention and bring him over. Pointing this out, he shows you what he's seen. That the trees actually have roots. They've been completely cleared. They don't look like trees anymore. They've been completely shaped into these kind of stone columns that kind of twist up a little bit. But from what you can tell, kind of just at first glance, they definitely at one point in time were trees.
Okay. Should I roll a nature check to
Yeah, if
try and
you'd like.
discern more?
Yeah, you can. And I'll say you have advantage because of Roland's investigation roll.
Cool.
So the two of you kind of going over this together.
Good thing I had advantage. That's an 18 instead of a nat 1.
Okay. So as you're going over it, you kind of like picking through it. You're like feeling along the tree and things like that. And as you put your hand on it, and kind of like just reach out and just kind of see what you can glean from this. You touch a live tree. It's living right now. It's not like any tree that you've ever seen before, but whatever it is, as hard as rock as it is, it's living. As you kind of start going over it again and looking at some of the grain and stuff in it, you've actually seen this material once before. Or at least heard of it. I don't remember if Corin has seen it. I believe you did. But in Sapphire City, there was a suit of armor that was made out of a material very similar to this. And the lady there called it ironbark.
I relay the name to Roland, but this is ironbark. It is indeed a tree. It is a living tree. It's just very special properties. It's very rare. This is the first time I've seen an actual tree of it. I've seen it worked into material once before, but yes, it is. There are so many of these. I imagine that may have something to do with the defenses of the glade here, but it could be something else entirely.
How much do you think something like this would be worth?
Roland, what are you and why?
So for Corin's information, you've maybe heard stories of this stuff, but if you have, it is long forgotten. They don't grow anywhere anymore. No one knows. No one has the. You're not even sure if it's something that's done to existing trees or if it's like something you have to cultivate a seed from and grow on your own. You have no clue. It's that rare.
Yep. This is rare enough that I imagine many would consider it to be priceless, but I also imagine it's in the same vein as the Skyrock before, where we remove any of these, it will weaken or remove the protection here, and given that this is a Druid Glade, I will take personal offense if you attempt to remove a tree here.
I'm not saying that we remove it. You seem like an enterprising
Hold on, hear me
sort. You seem like an enterprising sort. So something this rare that it's all over the world, no one knows how it's grown or where they come from. Anything like that. Is that true?
To my knowledge, though, while we spend time in here, I will do what research and investigation I can to see if maybe I can figure out how to cultivate this and spread it, but we shall not be removing any of these trees if we can help it.
Hear me out. There's more to this. So,
But wait,
but wait, there's more. So you think that there might be many other druids who might also like to take a look at these trees? Yes?
Perhaps, but they would have to brave the Withering to do so.
Ah, yes. But this is where the genius comes in. So what I suggest, so first step, we take that Skyrock and we collect it. So first, there's no way for anyone to get here except for us. And before first step, we work out the. I'm changing my accent, but it's fine. Teleportation circle, and we place it here. We create a sort of a mecca for druids, but we hold the key, and they pay us a small fund to come here. But they, since we removed the Skyrock, they have no other option. And we can pay. This is like a paradise for you to study these things. And we can raise so much gold, but not only gold, although that will be lots of gold. But that's not all there is. There will also be knowledge. All the druids of the world who will be able to see this and be able to study it, and perhaps with all your minds together, you can figure out how to grow more, create more, so there won't be just this mess out in the middle of the zombie butthole that this place is.
You do have some points in there, but as rare as these are, this whole landscape gives me the heebie-jeebies, you could say, and so I don't think many other druids are going to be shoving in line to get to come here.
If Roland and Corin could give me perception checks, please.
If there are echoes repeating that whole monologue and Roland just drops that on the spot, I'm gonna be so mad.
That's an 18.
Okay. And while
18.
this is going on, what are Nyessa and Skyla doing?
Last I said I was setting up camp, so I don't know, setting up a campfire, pitching tents, getting everything going, maybe making some dinner for my children, I mean friends. Going to the spring, like splashing my face with water, getting all refreshed. That's what I'm doing.
Skyla's gonna help Nyessa make dinner for her friend.
Nessa can't cook very well.
Oh. Skyla can char meat on fire. It's probably the extent of her cooking.
Oh, and here I was like, great, Skyla's gonna come fix it, because she's like a gourmand or whatever it's called. Or she was gonna be maybe someday.
Yeah,
Together,
maybe.
we're gonna make some really
Something
flavorful
edible.
food.
Something that will sustain us.
If I remember correctly, Skyla was a gourmand.
Gourmand.
But then she picked up the healing arts instead.
Oh,
That's what it was. Sorry.
We are
Okay.
focused on survival.
So while you guys are doing that, getting things together, grabbing stuff, Glyph has settled himself in, filled up his water skin, and he basically looks ready to run at a moment's notice, while also trying to appear, and doing a successful job of it, appearing relaxed and just kind of calm, lounging basically on his pack in his bedroll. While you guys are getting ready, he says, so when do we eat?
Nessa looks very confused at like the roasting spit and like the makeshift pot they have, and she's like, looks at Skylar.
Yeah, Skyla and Nessa just do a lot of like looking at each other, look at the food, like.
I think it's ready now.
I think we eat when it's done.
I think it's done. I like
it
touch
looks-
it, and I'm like, I think it's hot. I think it's
It looks
done.
pretty cooked.
So I don't think I've ever seen anyone cook dried rations over a fire before. Is that I mean, it's smoking.
I mean, you just never know, right?
Maybe the fire will add some flavor.
Yeah, smoky flavor. I'm kind of it. I mean, that's what I was going for.
I'll
Is that
try
not real?
I'll try anything once. I just typically don't. There's not a lot of fresh food out here, and
I can make salad.
With dried ingredients. Because I'm not eating withering salad, thank you.
I'm just gonna eat what I brought with me. He just kind of like opens up his pack and pulls out. So Roland and Corin, the first thing that you guys notice is the smell of really burnt meat.
It's like really burnt jerky, which is
yeah, like beef jerky.
I can't believe we're this dumb.
Oh my god.
gonna go around and we're like,
just like roasting jerky like a bunch of idiots.
Horrible kebabs of like jerky and like dehydrated fruit and like cooked it.
Kaylee has the highest intelligence, and if I know Kaylee, I imagine she's sitting down somewhere, going over her songbook, saying, "Yeah, that sounds like a great idea."
While she
for
just
dinner."
eats her own rations out of her bag, like that hasn't been fire touched.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks a lot, Kaylee.
She actually probably helped you light the fire with like one of her cantrips or something, you know? Yeah.
Hey, I know
So, Roland and Corin, you kind of hear a bit of the commotion going on and smell something that smells faintly like meat that's being cooked. But as you guys are having this conversation and discussing things, you both kind of don't really notice yourself doing it at first, but you're almost hazarding a glance out into the Withering, like expecting it to kind of press in on you. And you see on the very edge of that greenish glow, two hands just kind of pushing in, and as you turn to look at them, one just immediately locks onto you, Roland, and doesn't move. And then the other one, still kind of feeling around, and passes over Corin a few times, and then stops moving, and then hesitates every time it passes over you, like you could almost feel where you're at, but there's something there that's just kind of keeping it at bay.
I'm watching you, Witowski.
I look over at Corn to make sure that he sees what I see, and seeing that he does, I'll just be like, and then like to the hand, go,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna look longingly at the pillar, and be like,
Okay. What are you guys doing after that?
Corin at least is going to pull out the Archdruid's journal and see what he can find on Ironbark, and then I want to spend what time I have before calling it a night, seeing if I can maybe find a seedling or something to maybe, like, without removing any of these trees, if there's a way to bring Ironbark back out into the world.
Okay.
were there any flakes of bark anywhere in Zidelt?
Go ahead and give me a history roll with advantage, because you are using the Druid's Journal.
Oh. With advantage, that's a 4.
Okay. So as you well, I'll circle back around to you. For Roland, still keeping on with your earlier investigation roll of kind of just keeping your eyes out. As you guys are heading back, you've kind of gone around and circled around and investigated these trees, and eventually made yourself on the other side of the glade, or of the circle from the group. As you guys are kind of picking your way back through the trees, something catches your eye. Still kind of, I wonder what kind of hidden treasures are here sort of thing. You come across an area where the trees were cleared out, and there are small, what look like granite slabs that were laid, cut, and polished in a circle, facing each other. They're maybe like 2 feet off the ground or so. There's nothing really particularly special about the slabs. They don't have any kind of any silver or gold or anything. That there are some etchings around the edge. You recognize them as arcane in nature. On although most of them have worn down and worn away, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what they're there for. But there are 8 of them that are arranged in a circle and kind of overgrown and have some weeds and stuff spouting out around them. If you're following Roland back, Corin, you see this as well.
Okay. I'm gonna start copying them down.
Okay. Yep. You can, if you have the pen and paper and everything.
I don't see a pen, but I do have a scroll case full of like notes from studies and stuff like that that I could like write on it.
You can find a scrap of paper and worst case, get some charcoal and make a rub or something. So
Yeah.
you can just put down that you have, Druid Circle, Withering, Slab, Rune, Rub. Sounds like a preparation for some good rations.
Circle.
Slab Rub. And again, Corin, you see this as well.
Does it look like anything I'm familiar with from my own Druid Circle, or?
It looks a little familiar to you. It looks a little reminiscent of like a plinth that they do funeral ceremonies on. But in Druid circles, there's usually just one. It's usually not ornate at all. It doesn't have any kind of arcane runes or anything on it, and it's literally just something that they have at hand so that they can perform like last rites ceremonies for people that pass away while they're working in the circle. This has some kind of arcane carvings on it. You recognize some of the runes as druidic, and then others that you don't recognize at all. There seems to be some kind of blend of arcane and druidic mixed together there. And again, the 8 of them organized in a circle is a bit foreign to you.
If I see Roland starting to study them, I'd be like, those are possibly used as for funereal processions, but it's not any configuration I'm familiar with. And then just leave him to his rubbings.
Okay. So
Please,
as you leave Roland to his rubbings next to the funeral tables,
Lindsay's face.
I am so disappointed in you, boys.
That's awful.
So, Corin, as you make your way back to where dinner is being cooked, you thoroughly. You settle down with the Druid's Journal and begin pouring through it. You don't really come across anything too particular. Iron Bark is mentioned more than a few times, but generally in questioning stances, like, there's one instance where the Archdruid that wrote the journal is talking about an artifact that he's studying, and it says Iron Bark ? Next to it. From what you can gather, it seems to be a fairly lost, even at the time that this was written, sort of art form or secret or what have you. Going through a bit, you kind of come back to the knowledge on this particular Druid circle.
Mhm.
And again, the one thing that you come across is that the name of it is Kunandi Halda, which is knowledge keepers, or keep of the keep of the knowledge. Something in that rough translation is, it seems to have been, at least as far as Druid circles are concerned, a place of study, a place of old secrets coming here and being secured away from the world, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay. So Roland, is there anything else that you wanted to do?
Do I sense any magic on these things?
Give me an Arcana check.
Okay. 18.
As you're kind of going around and you're studying these and taking in different, rubs of the runes and stuff that are on them, you keep kind of checking and trying to kind of put your feelers out to see if you can just get any kind of sense of that buildup of arcane energy anywhere, and you have a hard time kind of picking through the overwhelming just sense of where you are is just so flooded. It's really hard to pick out any kind of specific thing. You definitely feel a magical energy in the air around you, but you've almost felt it since you've entered the Withering, so it's hard to tell.
Are there any around these things is it dirt around it?
Yeah, the ground around it is a forest floor basically.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of dried leaves. There are weeds and things that are kind of growing up the sides of them. To make some of the rubs, you have to pull bits of vegetation off and away from it and brush some dirt away.
Any bone fragments or anything, old bits of clothing?
Not that you
Nothing like that around them. All right. I'll just keep studying them
Okay.
for most of the night until something until something's different.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? No? Skylar? No? Corn? Okay. Yes? No?
I mean, if I think maybe after reading the journal I can figure something out by going and checking out the ironbark trees more closely, but otherwise, probably not.
I would say that earlier when you and Roland were investigating them,
Yep.
From what you can tell, they do have roots that have grown down, or it has grown up from roots. But the column, which you gather would be the majority of the center trunk, which is now twisted and engraved with these runes, it's had all of the branches and whatever leaves may have been there taken off. So whatever seed-bearing thing might have been has long been removed to make the columns themselves.
Okay.
Okay, so Glyph kind of settles in, tells everyone that they might rest up. We've got a long push to the last sanctuary tomorrow. And then from there, it's just a day's journey out. And he kind of just rolls over to get some sleep. Anyone else?
Does it still stink?
It smells better.
Okay.
Burnt and soggy jerky.
Jerky. Mm-hmm.
It's almost when I step back out in the Withering, get it.
Just stay downwind of Skyla because she has not bathed in
Ever.
maybe at the inn at Evax.
While they were making food and walking around making the camp, Nessa
You pushed her in the water.
pushed Skyla into the spring.
And that's how the Druid Circle water was never drinkable again.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it can clean itself because it's water.
Look, that's fine if you
Boosh.
okay. So go ahead and make a sleight of hand check, and you can make a I'll just make it skill checks and acrobatics checks, so you can do contested to try and avoid going
I
in.
feel like I'm gonna try and push her and I'm gonna fall in and drown.
Heavy armor?
Heavy armor face down.
But you got the belt.
One,
You have the
1
belt.
foot of
I'll
water.
just awkwardly bob. Yeah, no.
Alright, go ahead, slide ahead.
I'm going, I'm sorry. 10.
11.
Dang it!
Just barely.
No!
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say that you attempt to push Skyla in, and she just deftly just like rolls out of the way and like gives you that look like what?
It's not even definitely Steph, that's me. Skyla just like is like, hey, look at that, and just walks away. And just as
Like,
dang it.
I am not
What?
disgraceful or quick.
And Nessa goes in.
No!
But other than that, is there anything that you guys wanted to do? Are you turning in for the night? How are you guys settling in?
Probably turning in.
I think I'll stay awake for a little bit, like half just out of anxiety and kind of wanting to keep watch, and then half just like Druid Glade, you're great. You know what else is great? Nature. Yep. And just, sort of meditating on the revelation I got back in Sapphire City.
Okay.
And that's all. Then I'll go to bed.
All right. So you guys all settle in. Roland, you stay up for quite a bit, seeing as you don't need to fall asleep. You just can meditate at some point. Seems fairly quiet. There's the occasional kind of like hot, muggy breeze that kind of blows through the trees. It's a bit cooler near the water. Roland, and you said you're staying over by the 8 plinths, or are you coming back to the...
How far away are they from the water?
Within like throwing distance, you maybe 20-30 feet at most.
Oh yeah, then I'm hanging out more by them, I think.
Okay.
More by the plants, because I'm still
Okay.
kind of focusing on them.
Okay, no problem. All right, so you eventually all settle in. Nessa, you stay up a bit, kind of, concentrating on things and trying to just self-reflect a bit. Eventually you nod out a little bit. Night kind of rolls in, and you're all sound asleep. And it's morning now. Corin, as you're sleeping, you kind of hear something at the, just like kind of the outskirts of, you're half on the cusp of that dream and not quite sure if what you're hearing is waking or sleeping. And it takes you a second to kind of figure out what it is, and eventually you realize that it's the sound of a chain just slowly moving on stone. Just sliding and clinking as it kind of stretches out a little bit. And then you hear a familiar voice. Corin. You do find yourself in the most interesting locations.
Does this seem like a good location for you to have fun in?
Oh, well, I mean, it's exotic, certainly, but I'm a little concerned for you. You seem to have found yourself in, a bit of a jam there, and, I don't want anything bad to happen to you before you've been given a chance to fully pay me back.
What do you propose, then?
Well, I mean, I just thought I'd check in, see what your plan is to get out from under whatever those amazing creatures were. I've never seen anything like it. You mortals do find interesting ways to fill the void, so to speak. That's something. I might have to learn that one.
Well, so far things seem to have gone pretty alright. Doesn't seem like you need to take any drastic measures yet, but do have one or two plans.
And as you're kind of having this conversation, you've fully come awake now, and you are aware of a fire kind of crackling dimly, like it's almost burned out, in a very ornately carved fireplace. And as you're watching, the fireplace is like river rock with like a wood mantle, and then it slowly shifts and turns into like white marble, and then it shifts again and again. And as your eyes adjust a little bit to the darkness, you see a familiar sight, well, as familiar as it can be, the inside of Sutek's study. And you hear the clinking of chains and the sound of wood being pulled back as Sutek pulls out a chair at a wooden table with a drink on it, looks like tea of some sort, and he sits down at it with the chains kind of hanging off of him. And he kind of just taps his fingers, on the table. Corn, I'd love to hear this plan of yours.
I go ahead and take the offered seat, take a sip of the tea, assuming there is another one laid out for me.
As you go to reach, there's one that may or may not have been there before, but as you're drinking from it, it's changes as you are trying to hold on to the teacup. It literally shifts in your hand. You drink it, and it's pretty decent tea, but that seems to be it. I mean, even if you pause for a second, there's no ill effects or anything.
Yep. Well, I'll admit it's not much of a plan so far, but given that these creatures seem to latch on to an individual, I will simply become a different individual.
You are wonderfully selfish. What about your friends, Gorn?
If the creatures aren't paying attention to me, I will be free to act against them to save my friends, rather than having to be selfish and preserve myself in preserving my friends.
Well, I mean, that does seem like a plan. You taking on all of them before your friends get hurt. Of course, if you'd want, I could maybe twist things in your favor.
And how much would this alter our deal?
Oh, no. I don't make changes to deals, Corn. I make new ones.
Bye, Lindsay. I'm listening.
For a little distraction that might open up a way for you and your friends to leave, I just ask that you provide me with a little bit of insight into the wonderful new land that you found. Specifically, the Druid circle that you're in.
Just watching the rest of the party react right now.
You're sleeping. You're all sleeping. You don't know none of this.
Yep. What manner of insights?
Well, a link, if you will. A small link. Orange. I don't work in grand gestures. I plant seeds, sometimes literally, and I see what becomes of them. And that's all I ask. Is that you plant, and he's holding a very small seed. It looks maybe like the size of an acorn, but it has a bit of the Feywild twist on it. The tip is kind of glowing very slightly. It's a simple thing. Plant this in a place that can grow, and provide me a small link to check in on things from time to time. And what it grows into, you'll have to see.
Well, Sutek, I think this one This deal I will have to decline, given what happened the last time you planted a tree, and we had to deal with that.
Well, to be fair, that tree was of their own making. This one won't have anyone attached to it.
Still, I think I've already learned my lesson when it comes to trees and you.
That's fair.
I appreciate the offer, but I will have to politely decline this one.
There's nothing I can say to change your mind. Even maybe mentioning that I have a feeling that morning won't bring an easier journey out of here.
We knew this would be a difficult journey when we set out on it. We're prepared. I think you're more worried that should we fall, this deal you have made will come to naught, and I can assure you I have no intention of sabotaging the deal, but
Well,
simply do...
I mean, sabotaging the deal would end more poorly for you than for me, I can assure you.
Indeed, and that is part of why I'm not sabotaging it, but it's in both our interests for me to make it out of here.
What if there was a chance that I could help you out and you would owe me nothing at all?
Would you be insulted if I said I don't believe you?
I'm of the Feywild, literally bound, and he picks up a chain and kind of wiggles it a little bit. By the rules here, if I make a deal with you, I must follow through.
And I just raise my cup and as it's shifting, and say, things are not always what they appear to be here.
Well, that may be true, but you get used to it after a while. What if we played a game? And if you win, I will provide my distraction free of charge. If I win, I will still provide my distraction free of charge, but you must plant the seed for me.
What sort of game?
Oh, it's an old favorite of mine. And he waves his hand like this, and on the table in front of you, small stones appear. He says, "Have you ever played Rooms at the Inn?"
I assume Corin has.
Give me a history check. It's a very old game.
That's a 5.
I'm gonna say that Corin has not heard of this game before. Sutek says, "The rules are simple.
Oh, there's a whole other screen. Oh.
You simply place a line between the two stones. If you complete a room, and as he kind of indicates over it, a glowing line appears between two of the stones. He says, if you complete a room, you get to claim the stone. And for every room that you complete, you get to draw another line. On each turn, you draw a line, and then I will draw a line. Does it make sense? Simple enough?
I think I get this, yes. Alright.
Do we have an agreement?
I think we do.
Okay. Well, since you're my guest, I will say that the first turn is to you.
Alright.
So, essentially, if you've never played
Squares?
Squares, basically,
Yep.
you draw one line each turn. If you complete a room, you get to draw an extra line. That's basically it.
Okay. Alright, let me just make sure I have the line tool.
And just pick a color that suits you.
Yeah. Okay. Nope, that didn't seem to work. I'll just go with freehand and try to draw straight.
That's fine too. The line tool you have to click and then click again.
Yep.
Your turn, Corn.
By the way, I love that this is Corin's gambling again. This fills my heart to the brim. I'm so excited.
I'm full of strain.
You didn't know him when he was a gambler.
No, I didn't. I just gotta say that music lined up perfectly for when Sutek drew the line. It was like, boy.
For those of you following along at home,
Part of me is wondering if Robert looked up strategies because he knew this would be a thing.
I just really wanted someone to play this game with me, and no one would.
So I worked it into my D&D game where you
I
have
worked
to.
it in my D&D game. Now you have to play. Undercover world champion of squares.
Yeah. It's been literal years since I last played this, though.
Same. Sutek plays it all the time, though.
Part of me is worried that we're setting this up so that as soon as someone starts making a room, they're just going to get the whole board.
It's usually how it happens.
Did you move? I actually didn't
Yeah.
notice where the...
I did.
Okay, it just showed up.
Oh, I gotta right click to turn it on. My bad. Corn, how are the new powers treating you?
Well, haven't had much opportunity to use them yet, but I imagine they'll come in quite handy. As I said, they're currently my backup plan.
I feel like you're being a bit too careful with them.
Yes, well, in some aspects of my life I am a gambler, in others I make up for it by being cautious.
No, I was muted.
You weren't.
It's alright, Corn. We have all night. You need some more tea. And Sutek kind of rings a bell, and some of the familiar faces from last time you were here come into the room and bring a tray with some crackers and things on them and some cheese and place it on the table next to you.
Okay.
I love that Saber's ready to play along.
Yep.
Right in the chat.
Yep. No, there's there are definitely still moves. I'm just considering. I'm just trying to figure out where it's going to kick off the domino effect.
That's right, Gary. He's looking to see what's going to kick off the domino effect tonight, but he's really coming out with everything he's got, and it's amazing.
It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it works.
That's right, Cotton. What we're seeing right now is some incredible plays.
Okay, let's. Okay. So go there. There.
Corn wants to win. Love it.
Little does he know. The distraction.
He's planting the seed.
I know. The distraction is sacrificing all your friends so you can get away.
Okay. I'm nearly ready to make my move. I'm just doing that chess thing where I'm trying to think 7 steps ahead.
Yes. Snaggletooth. Playing the part of Sutek tonight. Zarya.
Okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay.
I don't think your line showed up. Oh, there it is, down there. Okay.
You guys see how big Zarya is now?
Kinda, yep.
She's
All right.
sitting.
Okay, let's see. Ooh, ho, ho.
Ho, 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 ho.
Okay. Okay. So, gonna go ahead and claim that. Claim that one. Claim that one. Claim that one. And then do that.
Okay.
Wait, you only get one line no matter how many boxes you complete?
No, you get one extra line at the end of your turn. If you complete a box, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't get more lines per box?
He did. So he closed the box. He got another line to close another box. Close the box. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Nope. That's not what I meant to do.
Well, luckily, I don't
Not
get to
showing.
see.
No, it's not showing up.
Hmm.
Why is it not showing up now? Okay. Now I'm going freehand.
I love the idea of like Sutek being S is for Sutek.
S is for Sutek. I was gonna actually have like tokens, but then you know.
Yep. Okay.
Your move, Gorn.
Yep.
And at that moment, Sutek realized the missed play that just cost him the game.
And at that point, Sutek flipped the table.
Okay.
This game is stupid.
No way.
And now I'm sitting here like, that was the right move, right? Or did I just screw up?
No, you won. Sutek begrudgingly says you won.
Double or nothing. No.
I'm double. And the game is yours.
Dun, 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 dun.
And for those of you following along at home, if I had placed a line here instead of over here, if I had gone there, I would have won.
Yep. I was trying to figure out how to split the board so that to minimize losses, but
Yep.
all that thought paid off, guys. So you weren't just sitting around for nothing.
Woo!
Well, a deal's a deal. You'll have your distraction.
It's well played, and thank you for introducing a new game to me. I will be sure to spread it in all the taverns I come across.
Well, I don't think that you'll have any problem seeing the distraction first thing in the morning. You never did say what you wanted for a distraction, so I'm just gonna have to get a little creative.
As long as it
Sweet dreams,
sticks with
Warren.
the original bounds of our bargain. No harm to mine or my friends.
Well, that was the other bargain, but I guess I am bound through this bargain. Well, no, see, you said specifically that while taking over, that's an
I sup-
interesting thought. Warren.
I suppose if you don't want to stick within the bounds of our original agreement, that is your prerogative, but know that I
Yeah.
will remember it.
The original agreement was confined to the time that I spent taking from you. This is not part of that bargain. You're beginning to think more and more like a fae every day. Sweet dreams, Warren. And then he kind of just waves, and it just... And you don't wake back up. You kind of just go back to what you were dreaming of before you found yourself in Sutek's study, kind of just feeling like it went from one dream to the next, not really concerned one way or the other about it. Moving on. Skyla. While you've found yourself kind of falling a bit into this restless sleep, it's too hot for you. You're kicking the blankets off. You're, not comfortable. You kind of feel just cloyed in, and just eventually you finally fall asleep. And you begin dreaming. You dream of home back on the mountain, how nice and cool it was there, and the adventures that you've been on. You wonder what Evac might be doing right now, things of that nature. Eventually, you dream of just read chat. Eventually, you dream of Fox, and when you do, something strange starts to happen. The dream takes a bit more of a firmer shape. You almost feel like you've woken up, and you actually sit up, but you feel a little bit lighter on your feet than normal, almost like you're kind of moving through water. As you sit up and you look around, you realize that you're still in the Druid Circle. You're still in the Withering. But it's a little bit different than when you fell asleep. The green glow is not there anymore. It is almost replaced by this kind of ethereal bluish kind of tint. It reminds you a little bit of the light that Fox gives off when he appears. The trees look a lot more grown. They don't look as choked off. The natural spring that is bubbling next to you is actually feeding a creek that is winding its way through the land and out into the trees. On one side of you, you see Glyph, and he is sitting up in his bedroll, hugging his knees, and he's just kind of rocking back and forth and crying. On the other side of you, you see Nyessa laying out, hands sprawled out from either side of her, and these kind of green bits of light are coming off of her fingertips and spreading out almost like ivy, kind of covering the ground. And above her chest sits a small ball of white, pure, just bright white light. It's almost hard to look at. It kind of washes out her face. A little bit further away, you see Corin sitting at a table. Looks like he's kind of drawing on it with his finger back and forth, sitting at a chair. Across from him is nothing that you can tell, but he seems to be talking to someone. Moving kind of slowly, you can't exactly see what he's saying. It looks kind of blurred and out of focus. And sitting a little bit further away from you, on the edge of the clearing, you see Fox. Not glowing, not blue, just Fox, polar bear. Solid form. You can see exactly. We're just kind of sitting looking at you.
Okay.
What do you do?
Go to Fox, since he's not glowing.
Okay. As you come up, he kind of just nuzzles at you, kind of gives you a lick.
Are you okay, Fox?
Just looking at you, you kind of, you don't hear anything. It's not like he's like, yeah, I'm fine. But you kind of get this just impression, almost this feeling off of him. You kind of connect on that empathetic sort of level, and you get this feeling that he's just happy to finally see you.
Okay. Give him like a nuzzle and like see if he'll follow me towards like Nyasa and Cliff and everyone.
As you kind of give him a nuzzle and stuff like that and ask him to follow, he stands up and he turns away from you, and he kind of like starts like indicates a little bit with his head to follow him.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
And as you do, you get the feeling of like it's a mixture of sadness and wanting to help is what you get off of Fox. As you follow him, he leads you in the direction that Corin / Roland. Did you guys tell the other two about the stone plinths?
I never really came back to the group, I guess. I kind of
Corin
just stayed
did.
there.
Would you have mentioned it to them?
If any of them brought it up and was like, hey, what's Roland doing? That would be like, oh, he's looking at this thing that has, funeral implications.
Okay, I'm gonna say just, yeah, in shorthand, Roland's over in this direction. Skyla, that's the direction that Fox leads you in. He kind of winds his way through the trees, which again are kind of thick and lush and like fully grown and matured and not choked off at all. As you kind of go into the clearing, you notice that blue glow that is kind of ever present in this area. It is really strong here. It's almost like there's something in the clearing that is glowing bright blue like this. As you go further into the clearing, you see a form of Roland sitting in the middle of all these plinths. And similar to what you saw with Nyessa, there are these just waves of energy. But with Nessa, how you had this one bright, controlled white ball, and then these kind of lines that were coming off of her fingertips. With Roland, you see this almost just tornado, this storm of all these different colors slamming into him and passing through him and whipping his hair and his clothes to one side and oh no. It almost looks violent, but whatever's happening with Roland, it isn't disturbing anything around him. The dirt isn't moving, the trees aren't moving, the grass isn't moving. It's just this torrent of just energy, just out of control, flooding into him. His face lights up with it. It's, it pulses into his skin and it goes out of his fingertips, and it, some of it slams into him and looks like it drips off. It's kind of chaotic. It's almost hard to look at. But Fox walks past Roland, not even seeming to give him a care in the world, and walks up to one of the plinths and kind of looks down at it. And what you see is, now that it's caught your attention, the plinths are what's actually glowing, or rather what's on them. Not overgrown, they look pristine like they were carved yesterday. The etchings and stuff around the outside of them glow with kind of this bluish light, and Roland's face. But on each of the 8 plinths is that kind of ethereal form that you normally see Fox in. On each of the plinths, ranging from what Skyla would say, various ages from probably about 4 to, well, the equivalent of 4 to no older than maybe 10 or 11. There are 8 children laid out in clothing. I mean, kind of funeral-looking clothes, like something you'd be buried in. Very nice dress or tunic or something like that. Apparently sleeping.
I go to the first one that like, whichever one is closest, and try to like shake them awake.
Okay. So you go up to the one that's closest to you. Fox is across the way, and he seems to be kneeling down to next to a young, looks like human child, female, from what you can tell the way she's dressed and things like that. Maybe 5 or 6. Across the way, the one that's closest to you is well, again, young. It's a elven child, a boy from the look of it, with about shoulder length hair. You can't really tell the color because it's ethereal. As you reach down and place your hands on it, even though the form looks kind of translucent, like you can see the granite behind it, you actually reach down and touch solidly on this form. And as you gently shake it awake, almost like they're coming out of a very, very deep sleep, they kind of get up and rub their eyes.
I don't know where your mom is.
They said they were protecting us.
Who said that?
Mom and Dad.
Protecting you from what?
They said there was something bad happening. There was war and everything was on fire, and took my sister and I and said they'd bring us to the Druids. They'd ask them to help and keep us safe. There's things out there. Some of our neighbors were trying to kill us. We'd buried them the week before, and they got up and they came after us, and we ran. Have I been asleep long? They said that I was only going to be asleep a little bit.
Do you remember what year it was when you went to
No. 0 on the new calendar. Thanks, Ryan. I'm glad you got that like that. Thank you. I had no plan for that question, and there was no digging myself out of that hole. Thank you. I love players so much.
It's probably been a long time. All the villages around here are like rubble.
A lot of them were on fire, and we saw them on the way over.
Everything's burned here and falling apart, but I don't think there's any fire. How do I wake you up?
You already woke me up.
I think we're awake.
What do you mean? And he kind of starts to look around, and he sees Roland, and his eyes kind of get like a little concerned, and then he sees the other people on the plinths, and he jumps off, and he runs over. He's like, "Sis!" And he grabs another elven child, female, younger than he is, and shakes her a bit. Shakes and shakes, and she doesn't wake up. He says, "You have to help us. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with my hands?" And he's kind of looking at them, like through them.
I don't know. I was sleeping, and I think this is part of my dream, but I don't know. I don't think we're awake.
They said They said it wasn't safe to die here. They were gonna take us someplace safe. Where is everyone? Are you the only one here?
Oh, I have friends here too, but they're sleeping right now. That one looks weird right
That's your friend?
now. Yeah, he's.
Can you help us?
I can try, I just don't know how. Is there something I need to wake you guys? Or I need to take you somewhere? I don't know what to do for you.
My dad.
I don't.
At this point, he kind of sits down next to the plinth and just cuddles up and just... He said we were going to be safe.
I'll make sure you're safe. Have to know. Say anything about how to wake you up or what to do?
They said that we were going to sleep for a while, and then when it was safe that we could move on. They said someone would come and wake us.
Well, can you move on? Oh.
Where to go? I'm not going anywhere without my sister.
She already left.
She's right here, and he kind of just like reaches up and grabs onto her hand, her arm.
That's her body, but I don't think she's in there.
She's ethereal, just like he is.
But he
They're
wasn't awake.
all ethereal. He
But
wasn't
she
awake.
was.
She wasn't.
Well, should we try to wake all the rest of you guys up and maybe anyone remembers something? I only went to you first.
We can try, and he gets up and walks to another one, and puts his hands on him and shakes him, and nothing happens.
Alright. I'm going to go to his sister first and shake her awake.
Okay, and as you touch her and kind of rock her gently back and forth, she slowly just opens up and like she's coming up from a long sleep. Who are you? Where's Mom? Where are they?
I'm Skyla. I don't know where your mom is, but your brother's right here, okay?
He's by her side and kind of holding her hand now.
I don't know where any of the grown-ups are. I'm not really even a grown-up. But I'm gonna try to help you guys, okay?
Okay.
And then I'm going to go and wake all the other kids up.
Okay. After a time, Fox is kind of sitting almost protectively in front of the youngest girl. She looks to be human, as far as you can tell. When you get closer to her and you shake her awake, you actually see kind of an interesting pattern swirling around her face. And I just got like the heart-wrenching look. It's hard to tell, but you're fairly certain that she's a Genasi of some sort.
Cool. Hey. Do any of you remember anything about how to wake you or how to help you? I don't know what to do. I'm sleeping, I think. But I woke you guys. I don't know what to do now.
The oldest one, or oldest looking of the group, kind of steps forward. Another elf boy, from the look of it, he says, "Yeah, my dad brought me here. He said that anything that died was becoming twisted and sick, and he was a cleric. He said that no one could move on. That everyone was trapped here, and so he had to take us somewhere that we could be hidden away until it was safe to move on."
Alright, well, it's still not safe out there. We're okay here in the Glade? But if we leave this area, it's not safe anymore.
Then why'd you wake us up? We were supposed to wait until it was time to wake up, until it was safe.
Well, maybe I have to take you somewhere where it's safe?
Where's safe then?
Well, this whole area is kind of yucky and gross, but there's towns outside of it that are safe, I think.
Can we get there? Can we make it to the towns?
I mean, I don't know if I, like, need to find your bodies, like your physical ones, take them. I don't want to upset anything that might protect you guys here. I mean, I have this portable hole that you guys can sit in, but it's kind of dark in there.
I mean, can you get us out of here?
Hi. Do you,
They said that we couldn't leave. They said it was too dangerous, that we'd never get to where we needed to go if we left, while everything was still sick and twisted. They said they were hiding us.
remember where they, like, you? Just here?
Took us to the Druid Glade. They said it was the only safe place left.
I don't know what to do.
You the only one here? There was clerics and druids here, and there's a wizard that was here as well. That they were all working on something to make everything okay again. Are you the only one left?
I haven't found anyone here. I came from somewhere else, and I'm just passing through with my friends.
If you guys got through, can we? Is it safe?
It's not safe, but we have to get through it, so we're just doing it as carefully as we can.
What should we do? They're kind of like, at this point, the whole group is looking at you, save for the Genasi girl that is kind of petting Fox.
This is so much responsibility. I don't know. I have a druid friend with us. Maybe he can help. We don't have a cleric anymore. So, what I can do, besides finding your physical bodies and taking them out of here.
So we're dead?
I don't know. Last I remember I was sleeping, and I think this is a dream.
Well, whatever you think we should do, we'll follow you.
Okay, gonna wake up in the morning, I'm gonna talk to my friends, see if they have ideas. And if not, I'm gonna try to find your physical bodies, and I'll take them with me. I'll
You gonna
find
leave
some...
us here?
No, I promise I will not leave this area without...
You said you're sleeping. But if you wake up, you're gonna be gone. We're gonna be awake and all alone.
Z, get out.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I have to leave you for a little bit, but what if I leave Fox here with you guys to hang out with you and watch over you?
I kind of look at Fox a little bit. Is he okay? Is he nice?
Really nice.
And the Genasi girl says, he's the nicest, and just keeps petting Fox.
He's really nice. He'll take care of you guys. He's really strong, too.
Okay, well, can you stay with us until you wake up then?
Of course. Stay right here with me.
Okay. Yessa. You were sleeping, and you open your eyes, and you feel yourself kind of just in a warm glow, just the sunlight kind of basking on you. And it's kind of hard to see. It's almost like it's shining directly in your eyes. You can't really tell which way is up. After a couple seconds, the sun is kind of blocked out, and you look up and you see a very tall tree kind of waving back and forth in a gentle breeze, blocking the sun. And as you look around, you don't see anything else. You just see just light everywhere. And in the middle of this light, you see this tree just growing. The shade feels nice. The sun feels warm as well. As you run your hand along the tree, you see the roots kind of go out further and further. And another tree grows up. There's more shade for you to walk in. You get to that tree, you touch that tree, more roots grow out, bushes spring up here and there, more trees start to grow. Eventually, you find yourself in a ring of trees. Nice and shady underneath, some grass growing in this field, and all outside the trees you see is just light, just kind of almost blinding light. What do you want to do?
That's an excellent question. Do I have anything with me? Or is it just like me?
Just naked. No. You have, yeah, I mean, you have what you're comfortable with. I mean, if you normally would have your glaive or your whatever with you, you find it's there.
Okay. My first thought was of my dad, because he liked going into the forest and hanging out in trees, and he built a swing set for me when I was little. He built a swing from one of the trees over the creek. Okay. So that kind of just reminds me of that.
So as you're thinking of this, you look and you see a branch kind of hanging off. You're almost positive it wasn't there before, but there's a swing that is hanging from it.
Oh, I'm gonna go sit on the swing.
Okay. So as you go and you kind of sit on the swing, you sit down and it's old. It's been there quite a while, and you grab onto it and immediately kind of like pull your hand back. It's cut and there's kind of blood dripping from it. The chain that was used to hang it up, or the it's kind of like rusted and old, been there for years. As you look at it and kind of rub the blood away, some of the trees kind of move and the sunlight hits the hand, and immediately you wipe again and the cut is gone.
Cool.
What do you want to do?
Huh. I really don't know. What does one do in dreams? I want to. I want to turn around and look out of the trees.
Okay.
Just kind of. I don't know. I'm just trying to see, like, is this the swing from my home? Like, can I see my hometown from here?
Give me a perception check.
All right. That's not the right button at all. Boop. That is an 18.
As you're walking along the outside of this little glade that you've created for yourself, all you're seeing is just blinding light. And again, it's almost hard to look at. I mean, if you try, there's nowhere to actually block it. It's just coming from almost all sides. As you look again, you see off in the very distance what looks like some shade, as far as you can tell. I mean, it just catches your eye because it's so different than the rest of the background. And as you look again, it's not shade. It's almost like blackness, just far away on the very edge.
I'm gonna go to there.
Okay. So you start walking. As you do, you look behind you, and the trees, as you leave, almost a last breeze blows through, and they all look like they're almost kind of reaching out towards you. And you step off into the light. Begin walking, and walking, and walking. And as you begin walking closer and closer to this blackness, I mean, it feels like you walk for hours, for days, for weeks. Every time you turn around to look where you came from, you can distinctly see the same tree with the swing on it, just swaying in the breeze. Almost doesn't look like it's gotten any further away from you. But as you look at the darkness, the more you walk towards it, the bigger it gets, until it's almost an entire sky, just ground to infinite above you is just this wall of black, like a storm front moving in, roiling and broiling, and the light is kind of like reaching out these tendrils. I mean, it looks like the sun kind of solar flaring out into the void and then lashing back. It just kind of like this churning on the edge, these two seas that don't want to mix, kind of pushing against each other.
That's not great. I'm gonna poke the darkness with my glaive.
Okay. As you reach out and you kind of reach past the border towards this void, you push the glaive out, and as it goes off, it and the head of it just dissipates and rolls back away from itself.
Yuck. That's not cool.
As you're standing there, you pull your glaive back. The head of it's gone. The entire metal head of it has just vanished in the void. All of a sudden you hear this clicking noise. And the blackness in front of you kind of roils and boils a bit.
Yeah.
and you see shapes moving out of it, and they look like bits of metal and machinery just walking forward towards you.
Ugh.
You see what looks like a humanoid shape kind of coming forward towards you. Bits of it are floating apart from it. There is this purplish kind of black energy swirling in the middle of it. Its chest almost looks like the inside of a clock, just twisting and turning. It's got an arm that's holding up a sword, but the arm doesn't have an elbow or a wrist. It's just kind of connected by this energy channeling back and forth. And there's one, and then another, and then another, and it seems like there are more than a few of them headed this way.
Heck! I need to get to high ground, as Obi-Wan would say. Shoot.
There's the black wall in front of you.
Uh-huh. And my tree?
Infinite light around you. And as you turn back, now the glade looks very far away.
No! Worst dream ever! Well...
And as you're saying, well, the first kind of angular metal leg digs out of the blackness and into the light. Smoke kind of coming up off of it as it and starts running towards you.
Shoot! I'm gonna try and whack it! Back into the darkness!
Okay, give me a... I'll say go ahead and just give me an attack.
With my stick. 20.
Okay. As it comes out and it goes to swing, you duck down underneath it, you take this now busted glaive and you just crack it. There's this bright flash of white light as it... and there's this burning rind. Like, the metal is twisted and burned away from where you hit it. It falls back and just, like, in blackness, and bits and pieces of it start to float up. Two more come out of the blackness and begin climbing over the top of it. All of a sudden, you hear... as these look like men. You can't tell elves or whatnot, but in just plate mail armor of all different kinds, some that you've never even seen before. Just like in passing, you're looking at it like, I've never seen that style of armor before. Just out of flashes of light, come out, and they begin fighting these things. More pour out of the blackness, and more men come out. Another one appears on the field, another man. He flashes in. His armor looks kind of gilded, almost in gold. There are wings that look spectral and radiant coming off of him, and he begins joining into the fight.
I'm going to help them!
As you begin moving forward, you hear, Yessa, what are you doing here?
Huh?
As you turn around and you see a very familiar figure coming out of a bright bit of white light as Alaric walks towards you.
Oh my gosh, if we were in the middle of this, like, deadly situation with these horrible beasties, I would totally give you a hug right now.
As you're looking, they're being routed, basically. They're
Cool!
pushing
Oh my god, hug him!
Alaric? Or do you want me to?
I mean, okay.
I'll leave it up to you. I can either...
Okay, sure.
NPC
No. Yeah.
Okay.
What do I do if she asks me questions?
We'll work it out as we go.
Okay. Alright, then I give a big old bear hug.
Alaric, it's so good to see you!
What? Oh, it's been so long since I've done that. What are you doing here?
I don't really know.
How did this happen? Where are you here alone?
Yeah, I was just walking. I'm British now, apparently. I don't know. I was just walking, and there were some trees, and then I saw a shadow. So I thought, that doesn't belong here.
Sure. You're in some trees.
Yeah.
Oh well. I'm assuming that I'm not going to be worried by that. And,
There are no trees here,
yeah,
as far as you can tell.
Where are you? Are you here?
Yeah, Robert, do I feel like I'm dreaming? Does this feel like when you're dreaming and you're like, oh man, this is totally a dream? I just made that swing set.
You don't know. I mean, you definitely feel more aware than normal, but I mean, you could, for all you know, assume. I don't. Nessa could very well assume that when she wakes up, she won't remember any of this. She doesn't know.
Yep, sounds about right. I'm sorry, what did you?
How is everyone?
Well, right
Feels like I've been gone for ages. But...
yeah, you kind of have. It's been like almost 2 weeks. It sucks. It's been like the worst 2 weeks. There was a whale. There was some whale bath. There was like we're in this terrible place now, and yeah, we're in this place called the Withering. I only read about it in books, but it's pretty awful. And yeah.
Has it really been almost 2 weeks?
I'm having a hard time, Steph. Okay?
It seemed.
British is very contagious. It's odd. Where have you been? You left so suddenly.
Yes.
You've found Lathander, essentially, and Arenika is still on your hip.
Yeah. Say, Arenika, this is Nessa.
Oh yes, we've met.
Oh, is that right? I don't know if I remember that, but let's assume that either way, I didn't say anything weird just now.
Okay, great.
And Arenika's like, oh yeah. No, I don't know.
That's it would.
Yeah. I don't remember. Are you? What happened to your glaive?
Well, the shadows ate it, I guess. I was just trying to investigate it, and then no, the blade head's gone. I'll just have to make another one. This is really hard to be New Zealanders right now.
It's so good to see. Are you here to? You here to stay?
I don't know. Are you? I mean, you said you were going to be coming back.
I mean, I want to, and as you can see, there's some work to be done.
Yeah. You got that handled. Looks like.
Yes.
That was horrific, though. What is it?
Well.
I'd say Alaric would be comfortable saying that it's a very, very old fight that is coming to an end soon, one way or another.
Backs up against it at this point, but makes things simple in a way.
Yeah. Well, how are you? I mean, you look well, but are you just kind of a soldier now?
Yes. I suppose. I mean, that might seem. I don't know.
Town guard with a new town.
I think I've been missing for a long time a sense of, I guess, purpose. And I know that what I'm doing right now is, this is being a soldier, but it's for something that matters, not just lines on a map, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. There's nothing wrong with being a soldier. I mean, we were both guards once. I mean, it's needed.
Just like that, it's like being a guard. You're protecting a lot more than a single city.
Yeah.
As you guys are talking, most of the fighting has died down, and the void on the edge of the the light is kind of calmed down. It's not roiling and kind of churning through anymore. The figure with the wings kind of coming off of it, the radiant wings that are glowing off the back of it, walks over, pulls his helmet off. Alaric recognizes him as Donovan.
I have no idea who this is.
Yeah, you have no idea who Donovan is, but he comes over.
I give him a relic salute.
What's that look like?
Praise the sun.
Hey.
Praise it.
Yo!
Oh, man.
Yes! Yes!
So he
That's
comes
so many
over.
swords, but-
He returns the relic salute,
Yes!
and he says, "What's this now? We've never had any trouble this far out. This is almost the edge of our strength." I'm
Oh,
sorry,
really?
Donovan. He kind of extends a hand out.
Sorry. I'm so how rude of me. Nessa, this is Donovan. Nessa.
I clasp his hand. Nice to meet you.
Gives you a shake. Says, sorry for being blunt, but how the hell did you get here?
I don't know, how did you get here? I just walked.
I died.
Oh. Am I dead?
Am I dead, Donovan?
Hold on!
Alaric knows that he's not dead.
I know that I'm not dead.
Yeah, no, you know you're
I'm
not
ve-
dead, but
I'm very secure in my aliveness.
Nessa
Yes,
just kind of pauses and is like, well,
no,
I'm...
you're not dead, but it's easy to tell that you don't belong here.
Hey, it's a little rude.
Well, you clearly didn't get here through any conventional means, so Alaric, I think it's best if you take her back.
Yeah, it's rude. It's my dream.
Eronika can show you how.
Come on, Ari.
Oh, she's a nickname.
This is what you normally dream about.
No, this is weird. But it was nice.
Not entirely sure it's a dream, but we've got some work to do. We have to get back. He turns around. Donovan turns around and leaves. Says, Alaric, take your time, but there's work to be done.
Yes, sir.
And he's gone, and then one by one.
Well, that's a neat trick.
Yes, I'm assuming I know it as well.
I did something like it in battle before.
I think I need to take you back.
Ain't alright, I guess.
And you both hear a voice that says, it's easiest if we go where you came in.
I can show you the trees.
I would like that.
Okay.
You guys make your way back towards the trees. As you get closer, Alaric, you hear, Nessa, you don't hear, but Alaric, you hear, those don't belong here. That's worrying. You guys reach the trees, the swing set is there. And Eronika says to the both of you, I can feel it here, yeah. Alaric. Here, and you kind of feel the sword tug forward a little bit as the blade kind of lights. She says, cut here. Alright, so as you... the light kind of opens up, and beyond you see this kind of bit of ethereal, like, blue that's there. Just quickly now, won't stay open very long.
All right. Well, it was nice to see you, Elric.
It was really nice to see you too, Nessa.
I wonder if I can visit sometime. If you guys need any help. I mean, I got this stick now.
Best if you didn't. Too many holes could weaken.
I,
If I caused any
Don't-
trouble, and I didn't mean to.
it's nothing we can't take care of. Don't worry about it.
All right. Yeah.
Listen,
Skyla,
Call me.
take care of yourself and
Skyla,
everyone
as
else.
you are sitting, comforting the kids and introducing them to Fox, the blue is suddenly interrupted by a loud tearing sound and a bright light just through the trees.
If any of the kids look startled, I tell them it's okay and to stay here, and I go towards it.
So it's like Alaric's head come out. It's like, can anyone sew?
As you
Here's Allie.
as you head towards it, near where Nessa was sleeping, there's almost a literal tear, and there's light pouring out of it, and you see this kind of these two shadowy figures that are kind of shrouded by this light. One of them you recognize as Nessa, the other one's a little bit harder to see further in.
Whereas I'm. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I go closer and just go like, Nessa?
Yeah,
So
you hear Skyla behind you.
As I'm getting ready to leave because I'm getting kicked out, I just kind of look around and I'm like, I will take care of him. Don't forget yourself. We're still waiting for you whenever. I give him a little hug, and then I'm gonna leave.
Okay, you see Nessa hugging Alaric.
Like at the tear, in the tear?
Yeah, like in the tear. You see Nessa hugging Alaric as he leans forward.
I
If you want. If you want to walk up to them.
Yeah, alright. Oh, I can walk up. I thought it would. For whatever reason, I thought it was gonna be like she has to like crawl through it for some reason. But a large tear obviously makes sense. Yeah, I'm gonna go through and just like. Alaric?
Skyla.
And I punch him in the arm, like as hard as I can. You left without saying goodbye!
I said goodbye in
No,
a way.
a note doesn't count.
This is the best thing ever.
I didn't know. It just happened.
Well,
I didn't know I was going to be gone.
And like, not being able to make words, I just go and give him a big hug.
Okay. Wrap her
Better
up.
not do it next time, mister.
I won't. How old are you? Oh, no, but we don't have to start a whole new conversation. Never mind.
As
Okay,
you guys are kind of like hugging and things of that nature, you hear kind of faintly, Skyla?
Oh, my heart. I'm right here, you guys. I'm just in the light.
Are you leaving?
Oh. No, I'm right here, you guys. Don't worry. Really. You guys have room for a couple of children.
Like 8? Children?
I found these kids and God, why am I crying so hard?
Because they're alone and it's sad.
It is.
Blame your allergies.
Totally my allergies right now. I found these kids and they were put here to be safe and they can't leave until they go somewhere safe. And it's not safe here for them. And it's safe here, I would hope. And I don't know where their bodies are, and I don't know what to do for them. So maybe you guys can help them.
There are kids in the glade?
Can I tell that they're not quite
Living?
physical?
No, they're not human.
Say, I'll take that one and that one.
The rest can stay.
Russ can bugger off. Can I tell that they are ghostly?
Yeah, you can see that they're ethereal.
You say that they need to find their way out of there. It's not safe there for them. Is that what you're saying?
Their parents put them here because it was safe, and they were gonna sleep for a long time. And I woke them up somehow. I'm not sure, but they can't leave this area till it's safe, and I don't know where to get them, how to get them to a safe place.
Ari? Is there anything that we can do?
I think that big man might have to become a little bit more lenient with his policies on admittance, but I don't see any reason that we can't help them.
I'm gonna step kind of out into the ethereal glade a little bit and just kind of
Not too long.
I'll bend down, kind of like hunching down a little bit, getting more on their levels. Hi.
Are you an angel?
Yeah.
My name is Alaric.
Hi, Alaric.
Would you
Bring
like
it
to
back.
would you like to leave this place?
Do you know where our mom and dads are?
I don't, but I do know that they are not here, and maybe we can find them.
You think it's okay, Skyla?
You'll be safe with him, definitely.
Oh, my heart.
Is Fox going?
Fox! I scratch Fox behind the ears if he doesn't seem to be upset about it.
He won't. He isn't. Fox has to stay with me, but you'll make new friends here.
Yeah, where's Zephyr?
Well, Zephyr was very naughty this morning, so I left him back in my quarters where he's learning a lesson.
Do you have a call for Zephyr? I mean, have you worked on something?
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine. I've only been gone for 2 weeks, so probably not too much. But yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I don't know if it's something that a call that he can appear across where it planes. I'm assuming.
I mean, you're at the opening. You could.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do a whistle.
Okay. So as you whistle, there's a bit of a flash behind you, and you hear, and this large figure, and fills up the whole entire tear, and you see this like fox head kind of in through it.
You know, they say to look at the paws to know how big it's gonna get, but that was quite misleading.
Swear word.
Yeah. It's a lot of cleanup. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's a lot to clean up after. But
I put my
Kids,
hand
would you-
up to pat him. You were just a little thing. Oh, you're so huge.
Still only 2 weeks old. No.
so
You're adorable.
hey, children, would you like to ride on Zephyr?
They're just like the Genasi girl's already walking up and petting him.
Hi, I'm Nissa.
They walk right past you.
Okay, that's fine.
One,
Poor Nessa.
one of the boys goes, "Nice stick," and
Oh no. You used to have a blade on it.
I don't think I can leave this opening open long. I think I need to say goodbye again. Get these children safe.
I give all the kids like a quick little hug and tell them to behave, and you'll be okay. You'll be safe.
they begin walking in, standing around Zephyr.
I'm going to give Skyla my signet ring for my family.
Okay.
So I've been waiting on some letters.
Oh, honey, I'm aware.
Me
That you're
too.
gonna have to pick up for me. No.
Yes.
Who I am and affiliated with does me little good where I'm at, but it might do the rest of you some. Maybe. Just if it ever comes up, or it can just be a thing to put on your bracelet. Whatever you want.
Okay. Take it from him.
Okay. As you're standing there, the tear kind of, not necessarily like it's closing up, but it's more like just becoming destabilized and starting to kind of crumble a bit.
I've missed you all so much. And I wish I had more time with you right now. But I said it wasn't. I'd see you again, and I promise this won't be the last time.
Right.
Have fun.
And
Be
it
safe. Have
slowly just
Oh,
closes.
sorry about the trees.
Nyessa and Skyla are standing next to each other.
He looked well.
I like the wings.
Man, I wish he didn't have to go again. I give Skylar a hug!
I give Ness a hug back and just like, wait, aren't we sleeping?
Yeah! I mean, that's what I kept saying, but then they were saying I wasn't sleeping, and then I was where I wasn't supposed to be. I don't know.
This is a really vivid dream.
This place is really weird.
I don't like this place anymore. I want to leave.
Yeah. Let's get on that.
As you guys are talking, you see Corin get up from the table and walk back to where his bedroll was, seemingly not noticing either of you, and lay down. And as he lays down, kind of shifts a little bit, and then almost like you kind of blinked, and all of a sudden he was moving into a different spot, like he was in the position that he was actually sleeping in when you guys all fell asleep. Where he laid down at was a little off, and then he just and you see him snoring, sound asleep.
Is the table still there?
Table disappeared as soon as he pushed a chair into
Huh.
it.
That was...
Glyph is no longer sitting and rocking back and forth. He is sound asleep as well.
Certainly never had a dream like this before.
Oh, maybe we should go lay down?
Yeah, I am not eager to continue this. I'm gonna go find where I had laid my bedroll and my tent and everything,
Okay. So you go, Nessa, you lay down, kind of close your eyes, and almost instantly you kind of shift out from the dream that you're in into another dream, and you can't really remember what was and what isn't real. You kind of just feel like you just had a strange dream, and you've continued on. You were at the amusement park, and now you're at the grocery store for some reason, but it's all perfectly normal because it's in a dream.
Right.
Skyla, the same thing for you. It kind of just shifts over and changes. As you're slowly shifting over, though, out of the corner of your eye, you see, kind of hidden a little ways away from the group, Kaylee's standing, and she's looking, and as you're kind of falling asleep, you see, and you're like, can't quite wrap your head around exactly what you're seeing, but she's looking down a long wooden path leading to a gateway at the end. She kind of just, and then you fall asleep.
Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap! I disapprove.
You all wake at various times in the morning, and you feel like you've all had strange dreams. The sun hasn't fully risen up yet when you start waking up, but the heat wakes you before then. You kind of don't really remember everything that went on. You're not exactly sure if everything that you saw in your dreams was weird. You kind of chalk it up to where you're at and what's going on. But you do notice a few things. So, Yessa, as you reach over and grab your glaive, the head of it is gone. Wrote it away. The shaft is kind of, it looks burned, but there's no burn marks on it. It kind of just has that look like it just disintegrated away.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem structurally bad, but now essentially you have a quarterstaff.
Can I try like unsummoning it and then summoning a glaive again?
You can.
I'm gonna try that.
Okay. And if I remember Magic Weapon correctly, you can summon. No,
Yeah,
you
I can.
summon whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So as you and then bring it back, it's a glaive reformed. But
Oh.
it was definitely there, and it kind of brought back some of the dream
Yeah.
a little bit. Skyla, as you wake, clutched in your hand, there's a signet ring that has Alaric's pressed on it, and it feels warm, and it looks like it's kind of faintly glowing just a little bit. Corin, as you wake, in your hand is a small envelope, and written in it, it says, written on it, it says, if you change your mind, and as you squeeze it, you can feel what feels like a seed pod in it. Roland, you come out of meditation, and you kind of almost hit with a bit of sadness mixed with relief, and you're not exactly sure why, but the stones, the plinths, that kind of like instinct that drew you there feels a little bit diminished. It almost feels like whatever power or magic they had, just either you kind of feel like you were looking at things that weren't really there, or maybe something really did go away, but they're not nearly as interesting as the columns. And that's where we're gonna end the session tonight.
Can I do one
What?
thing?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Really, Alex? Skyla's going to go to the like where she had seen the kids, because it was like a funeral thing. Is there like noticeable areas where there's like graves or like places where children were laying?
No. So what you see is the plinths. They're literally just like granite slabs. The ones that you saw were pristine, freshly cut, and they had very clear runes around the outside of them. The ones in the waking world are kind of overgrown, and like part of one is cracked and chunked off, and the runes are all worn down and very old looking. But they're still there. There's 8 of them that are arranged in a circle around each other.
Okay, so I'm gonna take and put a Gurn carrot on each one of them.
Oh.
And leave those there.
Okay. Does anyone else want to do anything before we end the session?
I'm going to. Nope, I don't know if I remember any of that. So, nope.
Okay. Roland, Corin?
I mean, this will probably come into play more next session, but just warn the group that we should be ready to head out. I had an odd dream, a premonition, if you will.
Yeah, I had some weird dreams. I can't really remember it.
Really weird dream too.
My
Now
dreams
I
were
have-
weird as well.
Now I have this ring that I didn't have before.
Huh.
I have this crook in the neck that I did not have before.
Yeah, fixed your
Oh,
posture.
it's this accent.
Oh, this is- yeah,
Love it.
my blade. Well, it wasn't a blade when I woke up, but
That's
Anyway.
All right. So we'll go ahead and end the session there. That's all I got. Tune in 2 weeks from now when they leave the Druid Glade and head to the temple. Other
Wait,
than
there's a temple?
that, I love all y'all. And one last shout out to the amazing artists, information below, that did all of our splash screen character art that you see partially up there. I think Kaylee's
well
is still
done.
there, right?
we'll do.
There you go. Not that. Maybe that.
Not that.
There you go. Awesome artwork from an amazing person. I would highly recommend giving them a follow and checking out their stuff. And if you ever need anything made, go ahead and do that stuff. It's been a while since I've done this. Announcements next Saturday we have Survivors Complex. Next Sunday we have Paranoia Part 2. Which will probably have at least 1 or 2 changes in cast. We're not exactly sure yet. We haven't ironed all of that stuff out. And then I think that's it for now, right? That's all we have planned.
Yeah. And don't forget to follow, like, subscribe on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. We've got some dice to give away once we hit our goals. We've got it on Twitch, but Twitter and YouTube needs a little more love, so go and share with your friends. Besides that, we love you all.
yeah.
Okay, we love you. Bye.
Bye, love you. Be safe, have fun, be safe. Wait, no, that was backwards.
And out.